I wish for a slightly better movie. Hello and welcome to Rotted Review of the Day, and today we are taking a look at the third of 5 movies in the Whispering Corridor series, this time the 2003 entry, Wishing Stairs. This is a movie that I thought was, it should have been so much better than it was. Basically, that's how it comes down to it. This had a fantastic little hook to it, but ultimately proved to be a very tired concept. And what I mean by that is this movie takes place in Whispering Corridors fashion, an all-girls school. And this time it's a live-in school, so it's education, but it also has a dormitory. And at the dormitory, outside of it, there are a series of steps, 28 steps, stairs, whatever. And if you count the stairs as you go up, and you mysteriously find yourself coming up to a 29th stair, then that is the wishing stair, and you are able to make a wish. Now this, for me, was a good hook. I like simple concepts that don't belong. Things like the 29th stair. There's 28 stairs there. You go up them every day. All of a sudden, there's 29. Things like that don't make sense, that are cosmically out of place. I really enjoy that level of just slightly odd creep factor. Doctor Who was a great example in this episode of The 11th Hours, the first one with Matt Smith and the Amy Pond character. He's in the house with her. She's been there all her life. It's the one she grew up in. How many doors are around here?
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6.
6.
Look.
Look where?
Exactly where you don't want to look, where you never want to look. The corner of your eye. Look behind you.
That, for me, that was a good creepy moment. And things like that I really love. Just those little things, like I said, that are just kind of cosmically out of place. So I was enthralled with the hook of this movie, but then the actual concept to prove just be a bit tired, because as the plot goes on, we basically get introduced to the characters of Yoon Jin Seong and Kim So Hee, who are lesbian lovers in this film, and they excel at ballet. And they, to a lesser degree, compete with one another at ballet, only insofar as they exist within the same class. They are of somewhat the same caliber of talent, and there is a competition coming up. So, that being said, the wishing stair comes into play when one of them wants to be entered into the competition. And here's what I mean by the tired concept is the whole horror trope of careful what you wish for. We've seen it a million times before, and of course, nothing ever goes perfectly to plan. However good the intentions are, there's always going to be an evil, terrible, macabre side to it. And it's not that I don't enjoy that level of thing, the monkey's paw and I don't know, whatever else. It's not that I don't enjoy that. It's just, it's a bit tired. So if you're going to employ it, you better come up with something that's really fresh. And as far as the 29th step goes, that's fresh from a mechanism standpoint, but not necessarily a storyline standpoint. And as far as the storyline standpoint goes, it really didn't feel all that fresh as it continued. And then in parallel with those two character stories, we're also introduced to the character of Yeom Hyo-soo, who is fat. For lack of a better word or any sensitivity toward it, she is fat and she is picked on relentlessly because of it. She is overweight enough that she definitely stands out from her peers. She has lighter hair. It's more brown than black. So she is definitely kind of the odd person out and is treated thus. She is, like I said, picked on relentlessly, and her storyline starts to blend in with the first one of the other two characters as the movie progresses. Here's my problem, is this is a character that in a movie surrounded by other characters that are dealt with subtlety and nuance, she stands out as somebody that is less a character and more a caricature. to the point where I was wondering if there was some real developmental disability going on with this person. Not the actress, but the character itself, just bumbling around, almost psychotic from the get-go in terms of, it's honestly a little bit difficult to really nail down, but just that social awkwardness taken to such a degree that there is something really going on there. And it feels like an adult should be addressing this outside of just being overweight. There is definitely something going on, and the way that she interacts with her peers and the way that she interacts with her food and, like literally just shoveling food, and having it all over her face and, screaming, do you think I'm a pig? Things like that. It was a bit over the top. And I didn't see the point of having it taken to that degree when it could have been dealt with the same subtlety as everybody else was given, while still having a hurt and sympathetic character. So I'm going to go and throw up all the scores here because this definitely impacts it. As always, 4 different categories, each one worth up to 25 points for a total possible score of 100 points. And from a plot level, I actually thought this movie worked pretty well. As far as the written stuff goes, I take a lot of issue with how it was presented, but what was presented, I actually liked. As far as the competition between the lovers and the ballerina stuff, I thought that worked really well. Again, we've seen it a million times before as far as the whole wish going awry thing. But I still think that even though it wasn't the most fresh thing in the world, it was handled pretty well, especially taking those two storylines and ultimately blending them together. So just written word, what was on the script and what was presented to us on a plot level, I liked. But having the characters in such a grandiose caricature fashion did the film a massive disservice. It wasn't scary. It was slightly disturbing, but not in the way that I think the movie was trying to come across. And ultimately what that impacted more than anything else was the intent score. Now, as far as the acting goes, this one I struggled with for a little bit because the character of Yeom Hyo-ju, played by An Jo, was one of my least favorite characters I've ever seen put to screen. She wasn't sympathetic, and I think she should have been. What I struggled with is this an acting thing, or was it a direction thing? And I really want to say that it was more direction than anything else. It's difficult. I wasn't on set. I have to kind of take the information that I'm provided by what the movie is presenting to us and go from there. And I really didn't see anything too terribly wrong on an acting talent front. This is more the choices that were made in presenting the character on the screen. And well, any director worth his salt, that's going to come down to direction. Either it's the director's choice or it's the director's choice to be absent from the choice. So if they're basically saying, to the actor or actress, oh, you want to go that route? Fine, whatever, I don't care. Then that's their responsibility as well. So I do think that ultimately what it came down to as far as the choices that were made for the Yeom Hyo-ju character, it did come down to direction more than acting talent. So I didn't take anything away on the acting skill level, and I think what it just came down to was impacting the intent. So, I didn't take any points away there. All told, I really did think that the acting was done fairly well in this movie. And the technical, I loved. Honestly, it looked great. It was a very well-polished movie. Some of the choices they employed as far as how they presented the 29th stair, I liked that. As well as having some practical effects on the screen that were truly disturbing. It's something that we don't often see in Korean horror, unless we're talking about like the Revenge series, where there's typically a lot more spiritual and cerebral and less on-screen gore. And not that this had a whole lot of on-screen gore, but what there was done extraordinarily well and in extraordinarily disturbing fashion. So I loved that part of it. So yeah, the technical gets the high score of the lot. And we wind up with a score of 62 out of 100 points. Standalone, would I recommend this movie? I would not dissuade anybody from watching it. If somebody brought up, hey, I got this copy of 2003's Wishing Stairs, you want to watch it? Like, okay, fine. Go for it. Knock yourself out. I have no issue. I'm not going to say it, no! But as far as if anybody coming to me saying, hey, can you recommend some good Korean horror? It's not going to be one of the first movies off my lips as far as a recommendation goes. So take that for what you will. I thought it was good, not great, not bad. So that should about do it. That's my review of 2003's Wishing Stairs. I really thank you for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe. And if you want to support me further, my Patreon tip jar and my merchandise storefront links are below. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.